Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to be putting together a really quick hybrid spread in my traveler's notebook using the upcoming springtime kit, which will soon be available from the brand new Nelly and Clem website. But before we get started, I'm just going to pop over to Photoshop and show you how you can make your very own pattern paper using any PNG file. Now the first thing we're going to do is create the image that we're going to make our pattern from. So I want to open a new document. I am going to size my document at 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch at 300 pixels per inch. This is going to give me a nice pattern for printing, and then all I'm going to do is drag on one of the little PNG files. I am going to use the hot cross bun. Now this is going to bring in a dialog box so I can resize it. I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift and resize my hot cross bun as appropriate. Now I'm going to show you a few different versions so you can see how what you do in this little document alters the pattern that you end up with. So we're going to start off with the hot cross bun pretty big. I'm going to hit return. And then I'm going to use the marquee tool and I'm just going to select that whole canvas. So I want all of it selected. And then you're going to go to Edit, Define Pattern. Give your pattern a name if you want to. I'm just going to leave this as pattern 1 so I know. And then I'm going to click OK. That's literally all you need to do to create your pattern. Now let me show you how you see your pattern. I'm going to create a new document and I'm just going to use an A4 sheet of paper because that's what I've got to print on. And then I'm going to go Edit, Fill, and you want to make sure that the contents that you're filling with are on pattern. And then the pattern that you created should be in here. You can see I've been playing around here already. Here is the pattern we've just created. I know that because it's called pattern 1, which is what I ended up naming it. And then go OK, and it fills my A4 with that pattern. So there's a bunch of different ways to alter this, but that is a really, really simple, quick and easy way to create your own repeat pattern using any PNG file, or really any file you want at all. You can do however you want to as long as you select the area first and then define your pattern. Photoshop will make a pattern for you. So let me deselect this and I'll just show you one quick way so you can see how that changes depending on how big your PNG file is. I'm going to go Command T to transform it. I'm holding down Shift and Alt again, and I'm going to make my hot cross bun even smaller and hit return. So I need to use the marquee tool again, select that whole area, go to Edit, Define Pattern. We'll just call this one Pattern 2. Hit OK, and then I can go back to my A4, and I'm going to do the same thing. If you want to create a new layer, like if you're trying to decide between patterns, then go ahead and do that now. Create a new layer and hide your background layer. With layer 1 selected, go back to Edit and fill with your pattern. This time I'm going to use the small hot cross bun, which is pattern 2, and go OK. And there you can see what a difference resizing that original file makes in the definition of your pattern. So we've got little hot cross buns or big hot cross buns. Now the last thing that I wanted to show you is I'm going to create a new layer again. I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and I am going to use one of the hot cross buns that I created before. It's just slightly smaller, you can see, than the first one we made. And I'm going to show you another way just to very simply alter this pattern to make it slightly different again. Again, I'm going to use my marquee tool. I want to make sure that it's on the Add to selection because we're going to create more than one marquee box. I'm going to really carefully, with my cursor, go ahead and create a marquee box around every second row of hot cross buns. And then with those all selected, I'm just going to go back to my selection tool and I'm going to hold down Shift while using my right arrow, and I'm just going to shift all of these hot cross buns until the crosses kind of sit in the middle of the row in front of them. It's a little bit harder to see because I'll turn off that back layer there. And then when I deselect it, I've got an offset pattern of buns. So you can see here, those ones are directly on top of each other. It's all very grid-like. or you can have them slightly offset, which I've got to say, I like it. So you can go ahead and print that as an entire A4 sheet, or I only need to print a traveler's notebook size, which is 8 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches wide. And then I'm going to go ahead and create my selection. And this is where you can choose whereabouts in that pattern that you want the printing to go. I like to kind of have my hot cross buns or any of those patterns sort of sliding off the edge of the paper. It just makes it look a little bit more real. Go ahead and print my traveler's notebook paper and then really quickly put this page together. So you can see here, I decided to go for a slightly smaller scale of the pattern. And when I was cropping the pattern into my traveler's notebook size, I also rotated the cropping tool just a little bit so that the pattern wasn't directly up and down. It had a little bit of an angle to it. Now, usually when I print my digital kits, I let my silhouette do all of the work, but since I was printing such a small piece for my traveler's notebook, I decided to print out the other elements that I was going to need for this page at the same time, and I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut them. Most of these little shapes are fairly easy for printing and just cutting with scissors. I'm always a little bit lazy when it comes to fussy cutting, and if I'm printing out an entire digital kit, then I will go ahead and let the silhouette do that work. But because I'm not printing the whole kit this time, I'm only printing what I need for my page, because I gotta say the ink's running a little bit low on my inkjet printer, so I'm being frugal. I'm just gonna do it by hand, but I'm gonna save you watching me because it was a little bit dull, to be honest. So through the magic of the internet, here we go. Everything is all cut out, and I've also gone ahead and adhered down my pattern paper just using some double-sided tape onto the left-hand side of my notebook spread. Now, when I printed out these elements, I was printing out the little bits and pieces, labels, hot cross buns. I love that Hoppy Easter key holder. Printing out those kind of elements to add as embellishments to my page. But I also printed out 3 of the journal cards. I can use them for the spread as pattern paper, so it means that everything's going to coordinate nicely. I don't have to dig into my stash for anything specific. And look at me, I'm even using some green on this page because it is such a pretty kind of Kelly green, and it goes really nicely with all those other warm tones on the page. Now, I'm literally doing this super speedily. I don't want to spend too much time working on this spread today. I have layered up those 3 papers. The one, the sort of yellow gingham check paper or card, I'm going to call it a paper because that's how I'm using it. I just matted my photo with it just to add a little pop of yellow onto this page. And then I stacked up that pink heart card with the green stripe card. And it gives me that kind of 3 different colors on the page, so it's lots of different layers. Despite them being all digital layers, it's nice and layered up, lots of pretty colors on here. Now, I love, 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 love these labels in the kit. There are a lot more colors than this. I only printed the 3 that I was going to be using today, and so I'm spreading them out. I'm going to end up only using 2. So I used the yellow one on this side of the page and the green one on the the left side of the page, just so that there was a little bit of green on both sides of the spread. Again, I'm just trying to balance out some of the colors. And I'm going to do that over on the left here as well by adding one of those little off-cut pieces of that yellow gingham paper. I'm just going to cut a little bit and stick that underneath the green label. It gives me an extra little layer over there, but also some of that pretty color. So I'm adding my Hoppy Easter key tag on top. I've got a few of those little hot cross buns, and I tucked a couple in around my photo, but I figured I would put one over here too, again, just for balance, sort of to tie the whole spread together. I'm just layering that up underneath the keychain, and then I've got my 2 over on the right-hand side as well. I just wasn't super happy with the placement of that larger one at the top because it's almost directly in line with the other ones on the left-hand side. So you can see I'm just going to change it. I'm going to move it down a little bit, and that way I've got this diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right of those hot cross buns kind of falling down the page, directing your eye to my photo. Now, I grabbed a puffy sticker, yes. This is a very old sheet from Citrus Twist. It's got a few little stars on here that are kind of the same colors as the kit, so I'm going to sprinkle those around as well. I like doing that when I've got a hybrid spread, adding some kind of non-hybrid embellishments. It definitely creates a lot more of that real factor to it, just having a different texture in there, and the kind of glossy puffy stickers work perfectly because I print at home on an inkjet printer. Anything printed kind of has a really matte look to it. I just print on some plain matte white cardstock, and so those two different textures work really nicely together. Now I've got a little bit of room in here. I definitely could have done my kind of journaling, or I don't know, it's a single line. Do you call it a journaling? It's more like an addition to my title. I could have done that digitally when I was printing out the labels, but I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. So I'm just using this tiny alpha, sort of a typewritery kind of font like I would have used anyway, and some black ink, and I'm going to stamp kind of my title in under here. Just, yes, it's that time again. That's right, hot cross bun time. I will say, I mean, they've been selling hot cross buns in the supermarkets here for at least a month, probably longer than a month. I don't start again. I don't start that early. I have waited until April, so finally it's hot cross bun time. Now this springtime kit will be available very soon. I will leave Nelly and Clem's Insta details in the description box. Make sure you follow along so that you know when her brand new website is up and running and you can grab the kit for yourself. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. If you've got any questions, go ahead and leave me a comment and I will do my best to answer them. Also, let me know if you'd like to see any other Photoshop tips and tricks. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.